right, let's jump into our game and take a look. We got Hot Biscuit and Woozak versus Lumi and Corrupted. Big names already to kick off the round of 8. It's going to be Ashka Croak versus Ashka Shifu. Interesting compositions, no healers in either of these team setups.
And the double Ashka. We've seen Hot Biscuit do a fantastic job, but Lumi got to try and follow his, I don't want to say his footsteps, because he's been doing very well as well. Oh, there's the combo. Got the stun combo.
Nice. Woozak is losing quite a lot of health in exchange, though, and it's actually going to be fairly even until that stun landed. Corrupted gets big burst, and Woozak is actually nearly down already. And neither of these teams have heals going out. So actually, it's not an impossible situation for Hex Shrugs to come back from, but it's certainly going to be a tricky space to navigate.
Yeah, there's not much of sustain on either of these teams. You know Croak's going to try. Oh, there's the stun combo.
Nice. And essentially, their health levels are at the same point. There's not going to be a very good way for Corrupted to heal up from this situation. And one more catch from either of these teams is going to mean a member dropping out. All right. Dividing the map top to bottom. Here comes Fireballs. Will avoid the counter, and Hot Biscuit making a big play there. Good reaction to. Oh man, Lumi actually landing 2 left mouse buttons, and that's really important. Health is a valuable resource for both these teams right now.
Yeah, the only way they're going to be able to get it is whoever snags his orb. Oh, we see the good pull into the stun.
That was good coordination from Entropia. Securing themselves that orb is so important.
Oh, the attempt at the stun.
We'll see what happens.
Oh,
Shifu's getting really low.
Shifu's going to try and get away with the ultimate from Ashka.
Oh man, and actually Corrupted secures a cross kill onto Hot Biscuit.
Oh!
Woozak makes the cross kill onto the Shifu, and now it's just going to be an Ashka versus Croak. There's one leap, there's a second, and Woozak is out of mobility and iframes. The stun coming out, and a spit. I'm not sure. I think
Lumi got that. I believe Lumi snagged it.
You might be right. Either way, still a bad situation for Woozak, as now he is very low on health, and Lumi seems to be very filled up on resources as well as health. Good blind is going to prevent Lumi from actually figuring out if Woozak is playing aggressively, and Lumi decides to take the safe option. Oh, he avoids the ultimate completely, while Lumi does get the center orb. And Woozak is going to be zoned out to the edges of the map. Uses a second leap, has the camouflage going up, stun goes out onto Lumi. Oh man, and the headbutt pushes Woozak into the dead zone. And Entropia take the first round, sorry.
I wouldn't have seen that going many other ways. Just the kind of range and control that we see Ashka have amongst the battlefield, especially as it gets smaller, between his little smash and just his ability to get around the field. While Croak does have his leaps and his dash, it's a little harder for him to control his leaps. He doesn't really have the, he has a set distance, like a set range that he kind of has to jump in. He can't make it too short or too far, which makes it a little bit harder for him to navigate as soon as that sudden death starts to enclose on the center.
All right. We'll jump in again. The Shifu playing aggressively as he should. Woozak tries to make the connection on the stun, but will miss it. And Lumi is now laying into Woozak, and this is what happened last game, except actually Hex Shrugs was able to connect a little bit bigger, and now Woozak is mounted up and trying to take control of center orb, but I think Entropia is going to win that one, and still looking not very good for Hex Shrugs.
Hex Shrugs taking a little bit of damage. We see Croak trying to put some pressure on Lumi. Oh, but there comes the shackles to petrify and the stun. Great way to
connection.
Good isolation.
Incapacitate onto Woozak, and they're trying to set up on him. No stun under his feet, though, and a second Petrify from Hot Biscuit, something that he does exceptionally well compared to other Ashkas. And Woozak is going to whiff and incapacitate, so that's going to slow down the pressure of Hex Shrugs a little bit. They're going to need to wait for some cooldowns to happen. Looking to get health orbs. There's a C, lands the incapacitate. One fireball does land.
Oh!
Wow. And actually fighting their way back through patience and actually good defensive play, Hex Shrugs is able to buy themselves multiple opportunities. Hot Biscuit with the ultimate, and now Entropia is on the run. Woozak will close out the kill on Lumi. Spinning, whirling blade comes out from Corrupted, but Hex Shrugs answers back. I think they played a lot better of a neutral game in that round, and really secured the victory in a comfortable manner.
I mean, especially as far as team compositions go, when you have a combo like these two have, Croak and Ashka, we see something very similar with Croak and Jade, which we see Telross pull off quite a lot in these tournaments. You want to make sure that you take advantage of those cooldowns. That's the tough part, is a really long cooldown on Ashka's stun. on the scheme of things. It has an 8-second cooldown, first Flame Strike. So if you miss that opportunity or use it too early, you're not going to be able to capitalize on the potential damage you can do during a Deceit Camouflage combo.
All right, we'll see if Shrugs can make a big connection again. The coordination needs to be absolutely on point. Wuzak actually uses his Camouflage, but opts to go for a spit rather than complete his stun. And they will win out the center orb, but the situation is looking a bit unclear. Here comes the Deceit, lands the Incapacity onto Corrupted. There's a stun coming out. Lands a bit of damage, and Shifu is actually pushed to about half health now. Hot Biscuit under some pressure, uses the ultimate to secure the center orb, will buy back some energy.
Oh, just got out of it.
Just barely avoiding the Ashka ultimate. Blind comes out onto Corrupted, and that's going to buy them some time. You can see Corrupted is playing very safe, just playing by that wall. Trying to make sure he doesn't get picked at from the sides. Camouflage being popped. One fireball does land. Lumi has been so good at scoping out Wuzak even when he's in stealth. And I feel like that's been very key for them. Corrupted does land the center orb, and now it's going to be a bad spot for the Croak on Shrugs' side. Hot Biscuit really needs to figure out how he can make this situation work out for his team. And Entropia are looking to close it out on Croak.
We just saw Wuzak use every single mobility move just to get out of range of damage. He picked up some health orbs, but now he might be stuck in a tight position. He actually had to use the seat just to get away.
Man, and the good EX pool from Corrupted is going to help get better positioning on that orb, and still locking Shrugs out of any opportunity to make a kill happen. Oh, the Deceit was so close, but the spear will allow Corrupted to get out of that situation, and Wuzak finds himself with nothing to swing at once again. Nice incapacitate.
Oh, we're going to see a combo!
There's a cross incapacitate. Camouflage is available, but Wuzak is just going to get out of that situation.
So close.
It gets to a very tricky spot because at some point you can't lose any more max health because you only have about 40 health points in the pocket, and Wuzak is at that situation. So unless Entropia can find a big enough connection to burst down 40 health, a little more than that, they're not going to find themselves a kill. And with Shrugs playing this carefully, I don't know if that's a possibility here.
Oh no, he got the counter. It was a little too late to predict. Oh!
Did not find enough health orbs to push himself up, and Corrupted will finish out that kill on Wuzak, and now it's just Hot Biscuit finding trouble getting into the map, and the second round will go to Entropia, and this is going really, really back and forth. Interesting that I think in the second round there was so much more control coming out of Hot Biscuit, and just was not able to find that, interestingly enough, in the third.
Yeah, I mean, they want to try and get those combos off, but if they wait a little bit too long, there were definitely some times where Wuzak had the advantage. I saw him actually pick up all 4 green health orbs in a matter of like 10 seconds. Like he got the whole pitch essentially, and he was in the advantage. But then he took a little bit too much damage. He might be waiting in that mid-range a little bit too much. You're gonna get poked out from the between the javelin and just all the range that Ashka has. You might take a little bit too that mid-range damage, so you either go in and take the dedication, or you back up, try and avoid as much damage, and wait until your Ashka can help you with some combos.
Here comes Ashka, is flying across the map, and Corrupted seems to be pressuring Hot Biscuit now. It seems like their target before was Wuzak, but now they're going to change it up, and not doing too poorly. Hot Biscuit loses a lot of health. There's the Incapacity, has the Camouflage available. Looks like they're going to go for Lumi.
Oh, no, Lumi!
Man, that firewall was so effective from Hot Biscuit.
He took full damage from that M2 between the stun. Oh, man, Lumi is in a tight position. Oh, almost got predicted.
Man. Now Wuzak is dueling it out with Corrupted, and they both each trade about equal amounts of health, and I actually feel like that was in the favor of Entropia because they really need a way to come back in this game, and with Lumi just kind of running around, any damage you can do is really great. The seat comes out. Wuzak again finding nothing. Here comes Hot Biscuit, popping Corrupted up and finishes the kill on Lumi. Now Hot Biscuit turns around and will look to find Corrupted, and again, a trade back to make the rounds 2 and 2. Shrugs continues to fight back.
That just goes to show the amount of, like, getting one burst off gives you full control. The remainder of the match, after that one combo went out, Lumi would spent the rest of the match trying to just not die. He couldn't go in, he couldn't make the dedication to try and land the combos with his ally. You know, Corrupted had to go in kind of alone to try his best to peel for Lumi, but by the time Lumi was that low, all it takes is getting hit by one stun and he's done for. So he had to be really cautious, and that's actually what lost them control of the center and eventually the entire fight.
We'll see if Entropy can returned to form, and I think that one of the things that was interesting about their opener was pressuring Hot Biscuit instead of Wuzak. Hot Biscuit was able to kite away and make a lot of cross damage happen when Wuzak landed the stun onto Lumi. There's the incapacity, and this might be the beginning of something.
Oh, he missed the stun!
Oh man, on a standing target, it's starting to look like me. Camouflage comes out. They're much better than me. Camouflage comes out. Immaterial from Corrupted is going to stop him from getting any kind of CC. And the center orb is being contested by both Lumi and Hot Biscuit. Wuzak tries to join the field, but Lumi comes out on top of that one. Counter gets hit. Kunju is activated for Corrupted. Tries to swing some damage away. The slow, methodical play seems to be going pretty evenly so far, but really Wuzak is looking to make a big connection, and it's up to the coordination between him and Hot Biscuit that will really turn this game around. And Corrupted has been having a hard time finding good uptime, and another ultimate coming out from Lumi, but it does whiff. And
there's
now
Cap's done.
Oh man, big connection from Entropia, sorry. And now Shrugs is on the back foot. Lost center orb control, or rather positioning in the center of the map. We'll see how they play out this situation. There it is. Actually will land on the orb, and that's going to win them back just a little bit of health. Here comes the C, looking for Lumi. Gets the incapacitate. The stun coming out, and there's a stun.
Oh my God!
Man. What a connection from Shrugs, buying themselves back in this game. Lumi does get taken down by Wuzak, and this careful kind of hit and run style that Shrugs is running seems just a little bit too difficult for Entropia to handle.
So much damage. The Flame Strike dealing 20, followed by Croak's stun. Wow. I can't tell if it was a deceit or a stun, but either way, I believe it's an M1 damage. That's another 8, plus the ultimate from Ashka, which is another 36, plus ignites, plus more M1s from Croak. Disgusting.
It's a lot of damage that you can put out, and this is often what happens with a Croak plus DPS combo, is that you're able to unload so much hurt onto your opponents in such a short window of time, and it all rests on the setup, right? The CC. Holding people in place, making sure that they can't actually use iframes or avoid or use protection. And Wuzak and Hot Biscuit just landed so much there. Not only did they get both of the stuns, but Hot Biscuit came in with the ultimate, and that really, really hurts.
And a lot of that definitely comes down to, as this progresses, it becomes more dominant. This kind of hard block, hard CC, trying to pin them down and just dish out as much burst damage as possible. You're going to see positioning come into a lot more play. You see a lot of these players, and the way they position themselves among, around the map, if they're keeping their distance, especially with Croak, right? When Croak goes in Viz, there's only one thing he can do. Try and stun you or incap you. You don't know which one happened when he went in Viz, but either way, something's coming. So you have an idea where he was, you have an idea of his movement speed, so just keep your distance, right? And we saw many times Croak went in Viz and it didn't really matter. He actually still had to, he ended up losing all cooldown, and he wasn't able to actually execute his stun or his incap because they just kept their distance.
Yeah, and that's really the big thing, right? I think Wuzak and Hot Biscuit played really well to kind of navigate that situation, kept their health high enough that they were still able to have many opportunities to swing, and ended up making the killing blow happen.
Yeah, so we're going to take a quick look potentially at one of the replays, I think. Yeah. We're going to take a quick look at a replay. This is actually when the counter got hit by Hot Biscuit, and he spelled death for his teammate. He sees, he's like, oh, never mind, you deal with him. He gets out of here. And then the in-cap followed by the M2, smashing and just annihilating his teammate. That is, I mean, paying attention to those counters, that's one of the big ways Shifu gets around the field. So popping that, what happened is it was such a long M1 that as soon as it was out of his hand, it was a little bit, he wasn't able to cancel the animation, which is usually what players of this caliber are able to pull off. And instead, he accidentally kind of killed his own teammate.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens, right?
It's super dangerous. In many situations, I think a lot of players get away easy when they hit counters, but what it does is add that extra pressure, not only on yourself, but on your teammates as well. And in that situation, Hot Biscuit was the one that procced the counter, but Wuzak was the one who paid for it. One of the things that's really important for players who like to run on Shifu is that proccing the counter gives them that Kunju buff, which can actually, especially with BattleRekt, be a very, very significant power-up for Shifu, as well as you mentioned the positioning, and he gets immaterial for a while, so that makes him very much protected against counter attacks, at least in that moment.
it's about as threatening as a Rook when you hit a Rook counter, except worse because he's immaterial.
Yeah.
He just becomes really powerful. He can dish out a lot of damage, and there's literally nothing you can do about it except for hopefully run away as fast as you can.
It's really interesting as well because different characters with their counters threaten in different ways, right? So for example, Shifu, he can't control where he goes, so if Hot Biscuit hits the counter, Shifu will go to Hot Biscuit. And so if Wuzak and Hot Biscuit were separated, there's actually no threat of Wuzak being killed because Shifu would have not been positioned close to him. Because they were clumped up, was able to turn on Croak. Now the difference is if you're running somebody like Sirius, that's a different situation because Sirius can actually choose where he appears after his counter is proc. So even though you might be fighting Sirius and you might be okay, if you hit that counter and your teammate is low on health on the other side of the map, Sirius can actually threaten him instead, and so that really, really hurts. And then you get another counter like Rooks, where you actually get no choice in positioning afterwards, but you gain different benefits. So it's interesting to see how the different counters kind of react differently.
Yeah.
And that definitely worked out for Shifu in that case.
And so much mobility, you know, especially between, like, let's say Ashka Croak, right? Like, towards the end, we did see, especially that specific round in that replay, they were close together. If their mobilities are off, if their mobility abilities are off of cooldown, they can actually, they have a little bit of leeway, right? They can space out and still help each other. Between, you know, Ashka's space, his jump, and even Croak's double jump and his dash, there's a lot of ways for them to close that gap and get closer and support each other. So if they had actually stayed a little bit more spread out, I'm assuming they were worried about cooldowns, plus they were low on health. In a situation like that, when the map's closing, it's a little more, you know, forgiving when we see a team clump up. But with so much mobility, you saw a lot of times, honestly, all four of them were kind of spread out amongst the field. They were trying to, like, you know, push each other into corners, but then they just jump right out, find their ally, and then group up a little bit, try and dish out some damage, get a couple of combo moves, then slowly spread out as their cooldowns came off reset.
Let's take a look at Hex, Shrugs, and Entropia and see what they've changed, if they've changed anything, and it looks like they're going to be sticking to their guns. Entropia came really, really close. The game ended 3-2. The map, rather, ended 3-2, and so I don't think Entropia is too far off, and I definitely think they can do it. The scary thing to think about is Hot Biscuit and Wuzak were able to survive so long at critical health levels. I think that's going to be the big change that needs to happen for Entropia, is looking to finish out their kills. Camouflage being spent by Wuzak, but won't find any connection. And now they're just spacing out. Hot Biscuit and Wuzak will be in control of the center position. And spending the counter and the immaterial might actually lose them the center orb here, as it's just about to spawn up. And Hex Shrugs goes in aggressively, but they're going to trade positioning to try to do damage onto Lumi. And I actually, I
believe Entropia got it, but I can't honestly tell.
I can't tell. It's so difficult sometimes. But Hot Biscuit does have a lot of butter on his side. We'll see. Fireballs come out. Tags corrupted with one of them. And again, we find ourselves in a situation where Hex Shrugs controls middle map positioning.
Ignite being so strong with this. Hot Biscuit only needs to land a single M2 Firestorm projectile, which will deal 14 damage itself, and then do Ignite, which is 8 damage over 6 seconds.
Oh! Man, Lumi goes again, and that, I think that's the third time he's just whiffed on his ultimate. Full stick of butter going to waste. Tried to go for Wuzak, and attempted to do the blind ultimate through the wall, but didn't quite land it. And that's going to lose them a lot of resources. The center orb is now up, and the counter gets baited out by the Deceit. Smart play from Wuzak. Center orb, though, might get lost to Shifu, and again, Entropia win that center positioning.
That is fantastic on him. That was oh, the ultimate, he actually gets him!
Oh,
just
Wuzak
at the end of it.
Whiffs. That could have been very dangerous for Entropia, and I think that Wuzak is looking to close out the kill. No, it's going to be Hot Biscuit, tags the last shot onto Corrupted. Here comes an ultimate from Lumi, and I don't know if I'll count that one, but that was a fourth ultimate that just didn't hit anything. And I think that really hurt them. They were winning center orbs, they had resources to spend, and Lumi just blew it all into the floor.
I think both Ashkas are finding trouble and trying to figure out what to use their energy for. Firewall, just not terribly effective right now. Ashka will just jump right over it. It doesn't matter because both the other two are just melee ranged.
Yeah.
So the Firewall's not going to do a whole lot until, you know, they get the BattleRekt that allows their projectiles to turn into firebolts when going through the Firewall. Other than that, you know, they have their shackles where they would like to try and get a Petrify, but that is a bit much sometimes, and Petrifies are semi-useful, especially when you have in-caps and stuns, which are a little more useful in the scheme of things. And, you know, we don't see them using their shift space that much. It's 50% energy. It's a lot for not as much heals as you'd like.
Counter gets procced on Corrupted, and Hot Biscuit takes a lot of damage. Wuzak is able to get out of there, and so now Wuzak is going to be playing front line. Again, the counter does get procced. Here comes Shifu with the Kuju, but gets stunned up. Nice timing by Wuzak.
Good in-cap.
Entropia will win the center orb again, and despite the fact that their positioning is a little more chaotic and definitely not controlling the center for quite as long as Shrugs is, they seem to consistently be winning the center orbs anyways.
We're going to see them pretty low now. Woozak and Hot Biscuit having to stay on just the outskirts of the map, trying their best not to take damage, but...
Oh, this time it's going to be Shrugs. Nice positioning for Hot Biscuit. Saw that Corrupted use the pool. Here comes the Deceit. We'll get the Incapacitate. Watch out for the combo. Here comes a stun.
There it is!
Oh, man, full stick of butter on Lumi, and I think he might be looking to spend it soon, but he's so low on health, he needs to be careful. Hot Biscuit comes across, tries to catch Corrupted, and here comes Lumi catching Hot Biscuit, and I think they might be able to close out the kill. There it is, but Woozak gets the Incapacitate, finishes it off on Corrupted, and now it's just Lumi and Woozak again, and Lumi was able to win the situation last time, but he had a lot more resources going for him as well.
It's going to be tough. Woozak only with 25%, he can maybe do his best to get a Deceit off. He tried to get that health, but we actually see a shift space coming from Lumi trying to get that health back. He wants to do his best. I mean, right now, health is the most important resource in this 2v1, or 1v1.
Orb is up, gets petrified. Nice play from Lumi. Good use of that bar. Will earn himself a free 50 because now he's the only one left on the map, and now Lumi has an ultimate ready to go.
He wants it. He wants to do it.
Carefully. Watch out.
He's going to try and force the mobility. You see both space bars go out. He only has a dash. You know Lumi wants to do it. He is so tempted.
Oh, man, there's not a lot of cooldowns left for the Crow.
Oh, he gets all the F1s, even being blinded. Fantastic. Staying in range of the Croak. Once he realized all the mobility was down, he stayed as close as he could, and it was fantastic. I don't see shift spacebars used very often for Ash because it is 50% energy to use. It is a lot, because at the max you'll only heal 40, right? Yes. Unless you're getting damaged in the meantime, which is generally when it's the most useful.
Yeah.
You jump in, maybe take some damage, but who cares because you're just healing up every single M1. But he was able to snipe all of them, even though he got blinded. Quick reaction from Croak, to be honest. That was great. Blind from Woozak. But
it's so interesting because it would have been much better if Woozak was able to throw out that blind while Lumi was far away, and so he wouldn't risk being caught even though the blind was applied. But Lumi did such a good job landing so many M1s, and that's really been something that's been working out for Lumi. His ultimates maybe not so much, but spending EX bar on space and the Petrify, two big moves that won Lumi that 1v1, and now we're going to be tied up in rounds, and Woozak is having trouble finding space to live on this map. So much pressure coming out from Entropia. When is the counterattack going to happen for Shrugs?
A lot of these teams both trying to do a good amount of burst. We see a little bit more burst from Asuka Shifu. Surprisingly, they would be able to get 60 burst if they have enough energy, and only 52 on the side of Ashka Croak, but they can have sustained burst as they just do stun after stun after stun. They're able to get so much damage.
Oh man, there's a connection with the Venom Blades activated.
Oh my, what?
They just cross-kill each other. And another one situation.
Oh, but he knows he has the ultimate. He wants to do it. Try and get some firebolts. No more mobility from Lumi.
But Lumi will be able to mount up. Very good getting across a wall.
Oh, nice firewall.
Now, energy advantage is nearly caught up, and it's so important for that center orb in a 1v1 situation because you get double the effectiveness from this. No, but Lumi is slowly just winning it out, and that's something that's so interesting to me, that Lumi has been so accurate on the mouse ones. There's a firewall coming out from Hot Biscuit, but he's taking so much damage. I mean, look at the health differential right now.
He wants to, oh, he's actually using his Purifier. Oh, he's getting pushed out from the firebolts.
Ah, Hot Biscuit. Lumi 2 for 2 on M1 duels.
Fantastic following, even just, I know it's just clicking, but it's really hard to do to try and read your opponent. Hot Biscuit trying his best to strafe left and right, but Lumi following M1 after M1, slowly chunking him down. Every time he saw Pyro Fire, trying to use his shift space, you see a firewall go down, because it was actually interesting. So whenever you have an ability that allows you to gain health from an auto attack, it actually counts when you hit the orb. The orb counts as one of those things. So you saw him trying to Pyro Fire. He was going to try and snag the orb and heal up by hitting the orb, but that firewall just helped kind of push him back just enough.
All right, here comes Woozak trying to land onto Lumi. Hot Biscuit coming up the top, but the firewall is going to deny him a lot, and Lumi is able to cross-counter a lot of damage. Woozak whiffs the stun on the camouflage, and now he's trapped up, incapacitated. There's a big combo impale coming out, and Woozak has to jump out of there, but now Hot Biscuit is the one who jumped in. Now he's going to be trapped out, uses a firewall to make sure that Lumi can't assist, but Corrupted tries to take a stab at him. unfortunately will whiff, and Hot Biscuit actually gets out of that situation pretty uncontested. Wuzak gets snared up, uses one jump, there's a second jump, trying to press aggressively, gets incapacitated on the seat.
Wow. That was incredible. Getting the incap, knowing that even if you went at Fizz, he still wouldn't be able to have any more mobility. Wuzak being forced to leap around, but doesn't want to. And that was Ally doing his best. Hot Biscuit trying to dish out damage.
Hot Biscuit coming back across to the center. Will not proc the counter, and that's going to be really good for Shrugs. They definitely needed that breath of fresh air. A lot of pressure coming out from Entropia. Luby is the only one who's lost health. Oh no, and Entropia will again win the center orb. Here comes the seat. Will land it on Shifu. And Hot Biscuit throwing out some fireballs with that fireball.
Corrupted just took, oh my god, like half of his health now down. Just strictly from his stun, followed by M2s and M1s. Oh, he tried to blind ult.
Looking like Luby now, and Hot Biscuit whiffs a big ultimate. And Incapacitate just set up a little bit of damage, but Luby is actually getting really, really low. We'll get 2 center health orbs, and now finally the center orb actually gets taken away from Entropia. And Shrugs has again found some way to buy themselves back into this game. There was a long period of time of catch-up, but somehow now they're in a situation where they're even in health. Resources are not necessarily going their way, but it's doable.
They actually have double health right now, 29% to 15%. And with a Croak that can go in Fizz, has a lot of map control. This is going to be a bit tough for Entropia to try and regain mid control and get some of these orbs.
How will these teams initiate? And I think they're both being, both sides are actually being a little careful about what they're going to commit to. And Wuzak has not even been playing at melee range for so long. Hot Biscuit has been mainly the one doing damage for the last minute or so. Oh wow, I can't imagine that seemed like a strategical mistake right there. That Corrupted jumped in on the center orb, used the normal spear and pushed himself into that positioning rather than the EX spear to pull the orb to him.
I like that term, strategical mistake.
A strategical mistake.
A strategical mistake. I wonder how often teams deliberately, I mean, it's going to start getting to that point, right? I mean, eventually, some teams are they're honestly going to have to fake teams out by thinking like, oh, look, he made a mistake, I'm going to jump in on him. It's like, no, that was on purpose. But that time, I don't think dying is a good strategical mistake. He goes down, but now, in the final round of this, next team to take this will get the point for the map, and if Shrugs is the one, they will move on.
Man, it seems like they're just going to go straight to the dueling part of it, and Luby will petrify up Wuzak. So far, Corrupted is doing a great job on Hot Biscuit, lowered his health quite a bit, and Wuzak will find himself in camouflage, does land a stun on Luby, and that's going to catch them back up a little bit, but Shifu is still so healthy and will continue to pressure out Hot Biscuit. Now, it seems like Entropia is trying to unite themselves and find some big connection.
Oh, here comes a combo!
Man, and the fireballs, and now Shifu is going to be joining Luby in terms of being at half health. And really, it's just those single openings that Shrugs needs to find a lot of value out of. Oh no, what? In the neutral game, Corrupted just loses a chunk more health.
So many M1s being used. If you just compare direct DPS without any kind of buffs, you're going to see Shrugs with 66.29 DPS as a team, and exactly 60 for the side of Entropia. But when you talk about ignites and you talk about having charged up, it actually will still go in favor of Shrugs. Oh!
Hot Biscuit lands a killing blow on Corrupted, and this is looking bad. Luby needs to make a 2v1 happen if they want to extend their life in the round of 8 now. They're on the verge of elimination in the BattleRekt 2v2 tournament here. Wuzak is coming for the kill, and Luby's getting backed into a corner. Luby turns over the corner.
He wants it so
Oh, he got spit in the face.
Spit in the face is how he goes down, and Shrugs will get the second and final point of this map, of this entire series.
Wuzak made great use of spit multiple times in that game. The EX spit, in fact, to apply the blind. And I think one of the big moments that that happened for Shrugs in that round was just the spit onto Corrupted, and they were just at that same time contesting the center orb. Now, Corrupted did actually land a spear on the orb and jumped in, but he wasn't actually aware that on the edges of his vision, Wuzak was able to go into camouflage, and so Corrupted wasn't ready for that, got stunned up, and got chunked down to a single point of health, and then Hot Biscuit was able to close out the kill with his space. I've never seen blind being used more effectively and more often than how Wuzak was employing it.
Yeah, and it's definitely in a 2v2 scenario. I mean, it's great in threes, right? You can kind of just isolate one of their players.